You know, Madam Deputy Speaker, my politics, as we cross-swords many a times. So you know it pains me when I congratulate the Right Honourable Gentleman, the Shadow Justice Secretary, for his outstanding contribution. Because there was nothing, really, that I could disagree with. The parts of this bill which are, though, I'm afraid to say, unworkable, unjust, unpopular and unnecessary. Jury trial curtailment. I'm afraid to say as well, the analogy used by the Justice Secretary is unfortunate of somebody stealing a bottle of whiskey. I'm not the most eminent lawyer. I was prosecuting and defending the theft of Mars bars in my second 6 pupillage before I was elected in May 2010 to this House. So I don't pretend I'm terribly eminent. But never did I see a situation advising in the Magistrates' Court a defendant to be electing for trial because that defendant had allegedly nicked a bottle of whiskey. The scenario's for the birds, to be perfectly honest with you. It's unfortunate, it's disappointing, and I think my friend, the Justice Secretary, could do much better. I think it's absolutely imperative that one of our number who were opposed for principal reasons to these changes has a seat on the Public Bill Committee. I was told by colleagues it's impossible. You're never going to be able to provide that. It's never going to happen. The Chief Whip is never going to concede to one of the so-called rebels being on that Bill Committee. But what I don't appreciate, Madam Deputy Speaker, is officials in the MOJ spinning that even Karl Turner was unable to persuade enough people to rebel against this bill. That isn't right. It's unfair, and I think, frankly, it's unbecoming of a Secretary of State in any department of government. But I abstain today, and I sincerely urge my colleagues to abstain as well. Because, Madam Deputy Speaker, I am more confident now than ever I was that the worst parts of this bill, will be defeated at amendment stage, and I ask sincerely to my honourable and right honourable friends to let this have a second reading today and let us make progress to get rid of the bits of this bill which are completely unworkable, unpopular, unjust and unnecessary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister, we learned this weekend, once said trials without juries mean evidence is not properly tested and can lead to wrongful convictions. Was he wrong?
If that's the best he can do, Mr. Speaker, of course he wasn't wrong. That is why jury trials will remain the cornerstone of our system. What a waste of a question.
Victim.
Mr. Speaker, the Justice Secretary cannot get his story straight. Like the Prime Minister, he once said criminal trials without juries are a bad idea. Now he says they're a good idea, and his justification for this change is changing by the minute. Last week, 10 Labour MPs voted against the Courts bill and 90 abstained. They're looking for a compromise, not in the House of Lords, but while this bill is in this House. The Justice Secretary just refused to agree a sunset clause in answer to my honourable friend. So for the sake of the 100 Labour MPs who do not trust him or his intentions, I will ask again, will he consider a sunset clause, or will he tell his own MPs no?
I've got to say to the honourable gentleman, he hasn't apologised for the state that they left the criminal justice system in, closing 40% of court buildings in England, 40%, and also a reduction in funding of 23%. I've explained for the reasons before about demand in the system, about the length of trial, why it is my judgment that these have to be sustained changes, as were made by the Thatcher government at the end of the 80s and the Labour government at the end of the 70s. That is what I proposed. It will now go to committee and report stage and get the debate into discussion in the usual way.
So does my right honourable friend agree with me that the crocodile tears from the party opposite today just shows why the public should never put the trust in the arsonists to put out the fire?
100%. I'm very grateful to my honourable friend, and it's why the Shadow Justice Secretary, when he stands up, should apologise, because he was sat in the Home Office while this was happening.
Talk of which, Shadow Justice Secretary Nick Timothy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Sorry. Look, that bench was disorderly yesterday. I don't want this bench disorderly today. Give the courtesy to hear what the question is, please. We've got a situation where I'm inundated with constituents who are complaining about the behaviour of MPs in this chamber. I expect ministers to set the best example, not the worst.
Order. Before we come to the urgent question on immigration rules, I should say that time is tight today. There is an important bill to be discussed, as well as the 3 statements that the government has chosen to make. However, I must put on record in the strongest terms my disappointment that the Home Secretary did not come to the House last week to make a statement on immigration. This follows a week of drip-feeding announcements to the media and a major speech outside of this place. It is simply not good enough. If this is the impact of the reported changes to the government comms grid, then it needs a rethink. It is unacceptable for important policy announcements to be made to the media before this House is informed. I call for the statement. Shadow Secretary Strait, Chris Phillips.
Thank you. To ask the Home Secretary to make a statement on her recently announced immigration policy.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I hear very clearly the strong message from the Chair, Madam Deputy Speaker, and of course would never mean any discourtesy to yourself or to your colleagues.
I believe the Minister had a telling off earlier. Well, I just want to reiterate the problem. The scrapping of the grid may be something of the benefit for government. It is not beneficial to this House. This House doesn't want to be drip-fed 7 days via news. What we should do is come here first and then drip it for 7 days. We've got it the wrong way round. Hopefully the message goes back. No more. Right, we now let the front bench change over.